Hi, I'm Russ Cutlip, and I'm going to be helping out everybody on the hockey team this season with some strength and conditioning. So I'm really excited to meet you folks in a couple of weeks. But in the meantime, I wanted to give you a couple of stretches and a couple of exercises to get you going. So before we get started, let's think about safety. Make sure you have enough room to exercise. You always want to have water every time, okay? Very important to stay hydrated. And then make sure you're wearing the right shoes, okay? You can tell one's a little bit wider. This is a running shoe, so it's a little bit longer and narrower. But if you have shoes that have a wider base for exercises, that's great. Okay, so we're going to start with a couple of stretches. The first one is a hamstring stretch. So I'm going to get down. If you have a mat as well, it makes it a little bit easier for exercising. I'm going to keep my feet flat, my knees bent, and I'm going to lay down. I'm going to bring one knee and put my hands behind my knee and kind of bring that knee towards me a little bit. I'm going to extend my lower leg so it straightens out as much as you can. No pain, but make sure you do get a nice stretch in there. And then I'm going to bring my toes towards me. So I'm going to flex a little bit. I'm going to hold that for 7 seconds, just count in my head. And then I'm going to release down. I'm going to pull my knee towards me just slightly and do the same thing. Extend my lower leg, bring my toes toward me, and do a 7 count. Okay? Then we're going to release and we'll do the same thing on the other leg. So you can go through that twice. Hands behind the knee, bring it towards you, extend the lower leg, toes toward you, you're flexing that ankle to get that full stretch, 7 count, and then release. Okay, so there's 2 types of stretching. This stretching exercise that we just did with the hamstring, that's called a static stretch. So it's usually you're holding a position with a little bit of resistance for a certain count. The next type of stretching is dynamic, and this is going in motion. So it really gives you range of motion, gets the blood flowing, and it's a great warm-up. So this is going to be high knees, and we're just going to walk a little bit, and I'll show you what it looks like. You can bring your knee up, hold it for a little bit, just a second. So what we're doing is we're getting stretches in our gluteal muscles, our butt muscles, as well as our hip flexors, and that's another good. So we got a static and dynamic exercise to warm up. So let's get into 2 exercises for the core, because core is everything. Everything moves around your stomach muscles, and we want to make sure that's strong when we're athletes. So the first one I'm going to do, we're going to get down on the ground, and again, if you've got some type of mat, it just makes it a little bit easier. My feet are going to be on the floor, flat on the floor. I'm going to bend my knees. My shoulders are going to be back on the floor. I'm going to cross my arms on my chest, and I'm going to come up, hold for 2 counts, and then slowly back down to the floor. I do not want to bend my chin in, and I do not want to curl just like a normal crunch. This is a little bit different than just a regular crunch. I'm going to bring my shoulder blades up a few inches off the floor, hold for a count of 2, and then gently back down, okay? So if you can do this for 5 or 6 times, that's fantastic. If that's easy for you and you want to go to 10, do 2 sets of 10, and that'll get us started. Okay, our next abdominal exercise is called the plank. And if you think of a plank of wood and how straight that is, that's what we want our upper body to be like. So I'm just going to be from this position on the ground. I'm going to come up on my elbows, on my toes as well, and from my head all the way down my back, I want as straight as possible. And then we're going to hold this for 10 seconds if you can. So we don't want to sag in too much, and we don't want our butt too high in the air. Think of that plank and straighten out as much as possible. My neck, I'm going to be in a neutral position, so I'm kind of looking at the floor just to relax my neck. You don't want to look up and put strain on your neck. And then after the count of 10, just come down flat, and if you can do it again, do a couple sets of that. So each exercise has a regression and a progression. So one of the things in a team dynamic, like our hockey team, everybody's starting at their own level, and that's cool. We want to progress from where you are right now to be better athletes. So if this exercise is a little bit too tough, start on your knees, okay? So you can do the plank from this position and hold for 10 or 20 seconds, whatever's comfortable, okay? And do that a couple times. And then as you get a little bit better and stronger, your abs get stronger, you can come up on your toes and do the plank this way. Okay, our last exercise is the push-up. This is one of my favorites. It really incorporates a lot of muscles, and it's going to give us some really good upper body strength. So I'm going to be laying on the ground to get started, and I'm sure everyone's seen what a push-up looks like, but I'm going to demonstrate it. From this position, my hands are going to be just to the side of my chest, and I'm going to come up on my toes if I can, just a little bit, and I'm going to push up and down, back up and down. So this can be a difficult exercise if you haven't done a lot of push-ups before. And again, if you want to make it to kind of take an initial step, we're going to get on your knees and do a push-up from there. So I'll demonstrate again. Instead of being up on my toes, just go to your knees to start out with. And we're going to go down and back up, and down and back up. So from there, after you get the hang of it on your knees, then we can go and get you up on your toes. Okay, so thanks. I appreciate everybody's time. Hope these exercises make sense and you give them a shot before we get the chance to meet each other in a couple weeks. Don't forget your water. It's extremely important to stay hydrated when you exercise. Make sure you have a safe space, plenty of room around you, and wear the right equipment. So loose clothing and some great shoes, and you should be good to go. I'll see you soon. Thanks.